Today we are solving systems of inequalities, and I am going to use 3, maybe 4 different colors of pens or markers, whichever I happen to grab while I do this. So I'm just going to be doing different colors for the different things that I'll be graphing. So the other day we graphed one inequality, solid or dashed line, shaded above or shaded below. Today we have 2 that we're going to do, or maybe 3 that we're going to do. So we're going to graph one and shade it. We're going to graph the other one and shade it. And then wherever the shadings overlap, we'll shade that the darkest because that's where all the answers are. Okay, so first looking at the top equation. I know that it's going to make a diagonal line. There's no absolute value bars, so it's not a V. And I know that X and Y makes a diagonal line. So I want to make sure that Y is by itself, and it is. So I'm ready to graph. I want to make sure that every time it's a diagonal line, I plot the y-intercept first. So the y-intercept is this +5. Remember, y-intercepts go on the y-axis. So let's go up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to zoom in on this so you can all see better. Did I zoom big enough? I don't know. Okay, and then I take care of the slope. So the slope is -3/2 because that's the number smushed with the x. So down 3, right 2. Down 3, right 2. Down 3, right 2. Or you could always reverse it and go up 3 and left 2. Okay, do you remember? Solid or dashed line. Since there's the equals, it's going to be solid. Okay, so we have a solid line. And then, do I shade above or below? When it's y is less than, it's below. So y less than or y less than or equal to, it's below. So I'm going to shade everything below this. And I'm not going to go crazy with my shading. If I was using a marker, I'd shade lightly, or a pencil, I'd shade lightly. If you're doing this with your computer, I don't know exactly how that's going to work for you. But hopefully if you use different colors, then you'll be able to see where the answers are when you're done. Okay, next equation. Is it ready to graph? Nope, y is not by itself. I do know it's going to be a diagonal line though, because x and y makes a diagonal line. Okay, so let's solve for y. Let's get this y by itself. Remember, if something's outside the circle, add or subtract to make it go away. So since this is a positive x, we're going to do the opposite and subtract it. X minus x is 0, so that's gone. Shoop. Your -2y comes down. Your symbol comes down. And then let's write the x first. So I'm going to bring down the -x. And then I'm going to bring down this +6. Okay, so now to undo this multiplication, I'm going to divide. And I'm going to divide both sides by -2. -2 divided by -2 makes a +1. So as long as it's a +1, you don't have to write it. Anything happen here? Flip that sign. If you divide an inequality by a negative number or multiply by a negative number, you flip your sign around. So flip. Now, a lot of times people will mess up right here when they're reducing this. They will think that this is 2 or -2, but there is a 1 in front of this x that you don't see. So first of all, what's a negative divided by a negative? A positive, and then it just stays 1/2. So it's 1/2 x, and then let's reduce the back. What's 6 divided by -2? -3. Okay, so we are ready to graph. All right, what is the y-intercept? -3. So we're going to go down to -3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm doing this line in a different color. And then my slope is 1/2. So up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2. Is it solid or dashed? Dashed. There's no equals, so it's going to be a dashed line. And do I shade above or below? Greater, I shade above. So I'm going to shade everything above that line. Now, can you tell where the two colors overlap? Okay, well, that's where all the answers are. So I'm going to shade that the darkest section of them all. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to shade this the darkest of them all because that's where all the answers are. So in this section, those are answers to just the bottom equation. And in this section, these are answers to just the top equation. But in this section, those are answers to the two equations at once, called a system of inequalities. Okay, let's look at the next one. Does the top line look like it's ready to go? Yep, y is by itself. Will it be diagonal? Okay, who's the y-intercept? 4. It's behind the x. Okay, so let's go up to 4 on the y-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, this 2 is understood to be over a 1. So if it's 2 over 1, that's up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1, or reverse it, down 2, left 1, down 2, left 1. Solid or dashed? Dashed, there's no equal sign, so it's going to be a dashed line. And do I shade above or below? Below. Less than is below. So I'm going to shade everything below this line. And that is in this section. This is below the line. Okay, is the next one ready to go? Nope, we need to solve for y. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and circle everything smushed with my y. Whatever's outside the circle, we need to make it 0 out. So we add or subtract to make it go away. Add. To get rid of a negative, we add. That way a negative 3 plus 3 makes 0. So shoot, that's gone. Bring down your negative 2y. Bring down your symbol. Bring down your 3x. And bring down your positive 6. Remember, you can't combine those. Okay, so now to undo multiplication, what do? We divide. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 2. So negative 2 divided by negative 2 makes a positive 1. So if it's a positive 1, I don't have to write it. Anything happen here? Flip that sign. I divided by a negative again, so I'm going to flip that sign around. So this sign, if I flip it, it's going to look like that. I'm going to do that with a more noticeable marker. There. Now you can tell I really flipped that sign. Okay, so now let's reduce. Does 3 over negative 2 reduce? Nope, so I'm just going to leave it. The only thing is, I don't like the negative down in the denominator, so I'm going to move it up to the numerator. Now let's reduce the back. What's 6 divided by negative 2? Negative 3. All right, so it's a diagonal line because x and y makes a diagonal line. Who's the y-intercept? Negative 3. Okay, so I'm doing this in a different color. So I'm going to plot negative 3 on the y-axis. And then a slope of negative 3/2 says go down 3, right 2. So down 3, right 2. Down 3, right 2. Or you can reverse it and go up 3 and left 2. Okay, solid or dashed? Solid. If there's an equal, it's a solid line. And do I shade above or below? Below. Less than is below. So I'm going to shade everything below that line. And can you tell where your two colors overlap? Yep. So I'm going to shade that the darkest of them all. So I'm just picking a third color to do that with. And I'm using a marker so it's brighter than all the others. So this is where all the answers are to the system. Okay, a little coloring fun. What do you think? Okay, let's look at number 3. All right, top equation. Do you notice anything? It's not diagonal. There's not an X and a Y. So is it Hoy or Vux? Hoy. Hoy is the one with the Y. So that means it's a horizontal line. So let's go to where Y is -3. Remember, this is your Y-axis. So Y is -3 when you go down. And then we're going to make a horizontal line. Is it solid or dashed? Solid. There's an equals. So let's make it a solid line. And do I shade above or below? Below. Less than is below. So I'm going to shade everything below this line. Okay, looking at the next equation. Is this one going to be diagonal? Nope. So this is a Vux. So V stands for vertical, undefined slope, X equals equation. Okay, so first I go to where X is a 3. This is your X-axis. So I'm going to go right 3. And then vertical is this way. Is it solid or dashed? Dashed. There's no equals, so this will be a dashed line. Now this is the one that doesn't have the above or below. So I have to read the statement and just know where to shade according to the reading. So this says X greater than 3. So I want to shade where your X's are greater than 3. So are X's greater than 3 to the right or to the left? To the right. And then can you tell where your two colors overlap? Down here in this bottom right hand little section. So I'm going to shade that the darkest of them all, and that's where the solutions to the system is. Okay, let's look at number 4. Now number 4, I gave us 3 to do. Okay, so top equation. What do you notice? You notice anything? It's diagonal. X and Y makes a diagonal line. Y is by itself, so it's ready to graph. Okay, so who's your y-intercept? 0. Remember that number behind the X that you don't see? It's understood to be a 0. So our y-intercept is 0. So I'm going to plot 0 on the y-axis. And then slope is 1, because that's the number in front of the X. So up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. Or reverse, down 1, left 1, down 1, left 1. Solid or dashed? Solid. There's an equals, so it's a solid line. Okay, first one done. Okay, second one. What do you notice? It's not diagonal. There's not an X and a Y. Is it Hoy or Vux? Oh, I forgot to shade the last one. Silly me. Will it shade above or below? Less than is below. Had a lot of less thans in this lesson so far. Okay, sorry. Hoy or Vux? Vux. So first, let's go to where X is 4. So I have to cruise right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to make a vertical line. Is it solid or dashed? Solid, because there's an equal sign. Okay, this is where I don't have above or below, so I just have to read it. It says X less than or equal to 4. Okay, where are X's less than or equal to 4? To the right of my vertical line or to the left? To the left. So X's are less than or equal to 4 to the left of that vertical line. So I'm going to shade everything to the left of the vertical line. Okay. The next one, what do you notice? It's not solved for y, so we need to solve it for y. Okay, so let's just do that. I'm going to circle everything smushed with the y. Now what? Subtract the 2x. 2x minus 2x is 0. Shoop. Bring down your 3y. Bring down your symbol. You can't add or subtract those. Bring down the minus 2x first, and then bring down that positive 18. Now what will you do? To undo multiplication, you're going to divide. So you're going to divide both sides by 3. Will I flip the sign? Nope. I divided by a positive number, so no flipping of the sign. Now let's reduce the pieces. So does negative 2/3 reduce? Nope. So let's leave it negative 2/3 x. And then how about the back? 18 divided by 3? Positive 6. Okay, let's graph this. So I know it's diagonal. X and y makes a diagonal line. Positive 6 is my y-intercept, so I'm going to go up to 6. And then what's the slope tell us to do? Down 2, right 3. So down 2, right 3. Down 2, right 3. Okay, solid or dashed? Solid. There's an equals. And do I shade above or below? Less than, I shade below, another below. So I'm going to shade everything below my purple line. Now, look closely. Can you tell where all 3 colors overlap? In this section, right here. So I'm going to shade that a different color. I'm going to try to make it the darkest section of them all. And this is where all the answers are to your system. What do you think? Was that fun? Okay, let's skip number 5 and let's go to number 6. Looking at number 6, what do you notice about the top equation? It's not diagonal. There's no x and y. Okay, hoy or bucks? It's a hoy. Hoy has the y, so that's why it's hoy. Bucks has the x. So first we're going to go to where the y is a 4. Remember the y-axis is up and down, so let's go up. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to make a horizontal line. Solid or dashed? Dashed. There's no equals, so it's going to be dashed. Above or below? Below. Less than is below. Oh my goodness. I think almost everything's been less than on these notes. I don't know what I was doing when I made them. Okay, next one. What do you notice about this guy? It's going to be a V. Absolute value. Okay, now can I do the whole left, right, up, down translation rules? I can, as long as the M is a 1. I can go left, right, up, down. Okay, so what does the minus inside make you do? It makes you go to the right. Now nothing's in the back, so it doesn't go up or down. So I just go right 3 from 0, 0. So 1, 2, 3. I'm having a hard time seeing my lines here. Okay, and then what's the slope? The slope is 1. There's nothing in front of that x at all, so that's understood to be a slope of 1. Okay, so I'm going to go up 1 and right 1, up 1 and right 1, up 1 and right 1. And then to get the other half, go back to your vertex and go up one and left one, up one and left one, up one and left one. Okay, solid or dashed? Solid. There's an equals, so let's make this a solid V. And do I shade above or below? Above. Finally, greater than. So I shade above. So I'm going to shade everything above my V. And can you tell where the two colors overlap? Yes, sirree, Bob. They overlap in the triangle. So I'm going to color that a different color, the darkest of them all. That's where all the solutions are to the system. Okay, and let's look at number 8. All right, top line, is it diagonal? Yes, X and Y makes a diagonal line. Okay, who's your y-intercept? 0. There's nothing behind the X, so it's 0. Who's your slope? 1. Okay, so that means I'm going to go up one, right one, up one, right one, up one, right one, up one, right one. Now this is just a line, so don't try making a V out of it. Okay, solid or dashed? The equals, so it's solid. Shade above or shade below? Greater, so I shade above. Yay, I've got an above one. Okay, what do you notice about the bottom equation? It's going to be a V, absolute value. Okay, is your M a 1? Yes, it is. So I can do the whole left, right, up, down business. So what's the plus 5 inside make you do? It makes you go left 5. And what about the minus 2 in the back? Down 2. So I'm going to go left 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down 2. Okay, now I need to know about my slope. And what's my slope? 1. There's nothing at all that you see in front of that X, so that's understood to be 1. So from the vertex, up one, right one, up one, right one, up one, right one. To get the other half of the V, go back to your vertex, up one, left one, up one, left one, up one, left one. Is it solid or is it dashed? It's got the equals, so it's solid. Okay, and do I shade above or below? Less than, so I shade below. So I'm going to shade everything below that V. Now, can you tell where your two colors overlap? Yep. It looks like a check mark. Check. You got it right. All right. Very nice. Okay. And then I want to backtrack to number 7. I'm not going to do the whole problem, but I just kind of want to talk about the bottom equation for a minute. So let's backtrack to number 7. Now, the top equation is diagonal line. I would have to divide both sides by -2, and I'd have to flip my sign. I'm not going to do it, but that's what I would have to do. Okay, so there was nothing to add or subtract away. I just get to go straight to dividing. But I want to talk about the bottom. What do you notice? It's going to be a V because of the absolute value bars. Is your M a 1? Nope. My M is a 2. So since my M is a 2, I don't get to do the left, right, up, down rules. For this problem, I'd have to find the vertex with our formula opposite of B over M, comma C. So let's just practice that. So M is the 2. Do you remember who the 1 is? That's your B. What about C? C is 0 because there's nothing added or subtracted to the problem. Okay, so let's practice our formula. So it says take the opposite of B. So what's the opposite of a positive 1? a negative 1. Put your division bar. Who's your M? 2. And who's your C? 0. Okay. So my vertex is negative 1/2, 0. So this is one reason why I didn't want to do the problem, because I didn't want to freak you out. But negative 1/2, 0 means go left a half and then don't go up or down. So you're just plotting a point that's halfway between 0 and negative 1. It's not that big of a deal. It's just students tend to freak out with fractions. And then if I had to do the slope, what is the slope of this? 2, because that's what's smushed with the x. So that means I'd go up 2. When I go right 1, I'll end up halfway between the 0 and the 1. Okay, if I went back to the vertex and up 2 and left 1, I'd end up halfway between the negative 1 and the negative 2, like that. And of course I could plot more points, but basically that would be my V. And it would be dashed because there's no equal sign. So it would be a dashed V. And would I shade above or would I shade below? It's greater, so I would shade above. So this is above my V. And then, of course, then I could draw that line and I could graph that. But I just wanted to talk about this one because the M was not a 1. So I wanted to remind everybody, when the M's not a 1, you've got to do your formula. It's formula time. And that is all for this lesson. Smiley face.